Morning all. How are we all doing? Morning Stevie. Morning Frank. Morning Diamond. How's everybody doing this morning? Excuse me if I'm froggy. Excuse me. I think I'm coming down with illness. Not good. Struggling through. It's November anyway. Nearly Christmas. Morning, Amit. Right. So where are we? New month, all fresh. Finished on 33.8% last month. Not bad, eh? Let me just write that on the screen in big numbers. 33.8% increase on my account last month. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I wasn't trading with my full capital. If I was, it would have been a very lovely month. But anyway, I'm just trading with this 10K account at the minute. But I've been pulling loads out of the funded accounts, which is, I'm refunding myself basically and switching myself back to drawing money out that way, which is actually nicer because I can get like 4 or 5K in a week and then not have to worry about it, which makes my trading last month was a lot looser than normal. Hence me having a much bigger profit because I was a little bit more relaxed and hard and fast with my trading, and like poker, the looser you play, the more you tend to make. So yeah, very good month though. I think it is my biggest month position trading wise, but there was a little bit of scalping in there anyway, so it's not fully position trading really. So, but anyway, I posted in the Telegram group yesterday about this Euro Swiss. So I got out to Euro Swiss yesterday. Finally. So I'm flat Euro Swiss. The long trade that October 13th. I say it's long. It's not that long. It's a couple of weeks really, but that's where I got into it there. And since I got into it, we literally just did that, didn't we? And I had all those failed drawdowns in here. Loads of aggressive drawdown control, and it just would not give me a move at all. So I ended up $370 odd pounds down on it on the trade. So it's a loser, but it's a loser. You get losers, and I'm glad to be out of it, to be honest, because I still like it short, especially now we've had that reverse alert, which has held. So we've reversed, we've tested, we've just put in a new high. And we're putting in higher lower highs at the moment. So we are contracting in a symmetrical triangle. I do still think the euro is a short though at the moment, with what Lagarde's been saying and what's going on in Europe at the minute. I think we should still be looking short on the euro, but it's not as weak as it was. So as you can see, I mean, we're just completely sideways there. We're completely sideways there. Sidewaysy uppy, sidewaysy down. Obviously, against the US dollar, we're still bearish, obviously, and obviously, as you can see, the US dollar's really taken control. It always does. But yeah, so out of that one. So I've just taken a US dollar CAD this morning. I just put it in the Telegram group. First entry on the M5 reverse alert this morning. Big one. Boing. So I like that long US dollar CAD. On the 4 hour, we're back in the 24.72 zone, which is where I like to buy. We've just come off of a double bottom, had a reversal alert, and we're retesting. So basically, this is a textbook H4 M15 multi-time frame entry. These are the ones which are the best to take. So it's the first pullback after the reversal alert on H4. So if this is going to retest and go, this is the one that forms RW reversal. So these reverse alerts here, when they work, are very, very high reward. Can be. So just taking first entry on that this morning. Pound Swiss, I've still got on. Something weird happened with the Pound Swiss last night. I'll show you it on M15. I don't know what this was. But I was looking at this last night here, and all of a sudden we had this whacking great. I don't know if anybody else has got this on their chart. So I've looked at it on 2 different Robo Forex accounts. Let me just have a look at it on my funded account as well, just out of interest. Pound Swiss new chart. Number 15. What time was that? That was a changeover. No. What time was that? It's 10:45. Yeah, so I got this on my. It's on my funded account as well. This weird gap, and this isn't the swap. Swaps. Oh, it is the swap. Why is that drawn there then? At midnight. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a confused moment. That's the swap. What's that then? I said swap at a different hour. Different brokers have got different swaps. Or I don't know what's going on. Anyway, something weird. Morning ladder. We had this weird gap down yesterday, and I thought it looked like the swap because the spread was like that. So it actually hit all my targets, but obviously didn't trigger any because the ask was up there and the bid was down there. Yeah, it's something to do with the clocks changing, isn't it? But yeah, so charts were out with the gaps. DAX has just opened. I've got a short on the DAX at the moment, not on this account, on the funded account. I need to monitor this one because I've got 2 positions on it, and I'm sitting in 0.9% profit on it already. So yeah, I haven't hit that target yet, but that is my get out, which is about 0.8%, 0.7%. I'm going to take on pound Swiss if it can get down there this morning. I just need to monitor this. Sorry, one sec. So we've got a really big gap this morning on the DAX. Really big gap. So I've taken a short this morning with stop above the high. And I just want to see if it's going to run. Diamonds just posted he's got the gap. Looks very similar to mine. Slightly different timing though. Yeah, it's something today. It's something to do with the clocks, isn't it? Just a very weird gap this morning, though. Got quite tight. I've got 2 positions on. I'll show you. It might as well. I've got 2 positions on this. One here, which I took as we started to roll over. We had this big bearish engulfing going. This is all pre-market stuff. And then one, I took an entry there, and then we pushed back down, pushed back up. So I put a sell stop underneath that low, which is kind of there. So I was looking for a break of that low to come and flush down. I've got quite tight stop on the second position though, so I just wanted to monitor this one. I've got a different magic number on it, haven't I? That's why we can't see the percentage. What's the input on that? Is 764. There we go. Might get stopped out on one of these. This is the DAX, by the way. I just pulled that. I just suddenly realised you couldn't actually see what this is because it's on a. It's at the top of the screen. On my chart, the gap is right on the period line. It looks like a question spread. Yeah, it's something weird to do with the clocks changing, isn't it? It's definitely a clock change thing. It's just weird that it looks different on here on the funded account to the other. We have a week of an extra hour on the charts And the USA changed their clocks. Yeah, I never bothered to change my charts this week. It's only ever a week, so I never bother to change my charts. I can't be bothered. Stopped out the first position. Oh, this is going to be a bloody nightmare this morning, isn't it? Did 1.8% yesterday. 0.5% gone this morning. Morning, Thembat. Just putting a sell stop on underneath the low, going for the opening range break to the downside. So we've got that one and that one. So I'm going for the gap fill this morning, basically, which is, the gap is 13,254. All the way down there. Not going to get it. I'm going to get stopped out in my second position. That's a good way to start the morning with a 1% loss, isn't it? Jesus Christ, DAX. Oh, God. Right, okay, well, scrap that. That's a loss. Right, so let's have a look at what we've got today. So yeah, pound Swiss, just looking to try and get that one. US dollar CAD taken on. Aussie, New Zealand. So last night we had the rate announcement. Aussies went with 2.85. Inflation was up to 10.7 in Jesus. That's a big opening range candle on the DAX. They're just taking the highs out. Wow. Right. Okay. Going 1% long. Not mucking about this morning. Just buying there, basically. This thing's like a steam train this morning. So just taking a 1% risk long there, stop there. We're going to get a propulsion gap formed here. So if we pull back into there, I'll be looking for a break upside long. This doesn't look like it wants to do this gap this morning, does it? French and Italian bank holidays today, is it? On the charts? Oh, yeah. So it is. Not that it really affects the DAX because it's sort of, all the trading's in German. German in Germany, even. Adding one more to the DAX. So, also in Germany, it's not holiday in Germany. It's definitely not a holiday in Germany. If it is, the bankers are not on holiday because this thing's going like a steam train. So the index is definitely open. Oh, just watching this. I want to see where we're off to this morning before I have a look at other stuff. Well, that's ADR. Okay, so we're just approaching 134.34 is where I would probably start to get a little worried. It's this area here. That only wants to go long, doesn't it? Indexes open only in Catholic countries. Frankfurt is Protestant, so they are working. Okay, don't know about any of that, but the banks are working. I can see it on my screen. They're definitely open. Right. So yeah, yesterday Australian. Sorry, this morning Australian. So yeah, we went 2.85% as forecast. The RBA said basically inflation is now expected to peak around 8% later this year. So by end of year, we should be up to 8%. That will be bullish when that figure comes out, Australian dollar. Obviously, they're trying to return inflation to normal levels, as everybody is, which means increasing rates. So they have only put theirs up 0.25%. There will be further rises coming, obviously, but the initial decision has been to go with 0.25%, which is fine. We went a little bit more last time, and then obviously beginning of October, we had that smaller than expected rate announcement, which obviously hurt. So by going up 0.25%, really what they've done, as you can see, is go up to the levels they were expecting to go up to in October. And we're obviously a month behind. So it's not, what they've done is basically what they were forecast to do, but they've taken 2 months to do it. So obviously we've had a bit of a dip in the Aussie this morning. So Aussie New Zealand has come down. We've hit ADR. Yeah. We've come down this morning. So the EA is going to get me into another position on this one this morning. But I took one manually as well as we started to push up. So we had this big bullish engulfing. I took another position there manually, and the EA will be getting me in when we get a reversal alert there as well. So I'm looking to get a little bit more position size on this Aussie New Zealand. I've got 0.61 on at the moment. I've got 6 positions on, which isn't the end of the day, end of the world, but it's 3.5% in DD. So I want to start getting on top of this a little bit. It's got a little bit further than I was expecting it to. I was expecting the bounce off the 72 round here, and then obviously what they decided to do October the 4th was not do the rates as much as expected, which I thought, yep, that's fine. You can see that's where I got in with my initial position. I thought that's fine. We'll probably come down and have a little bit of a dip before we bounce. We didn't get that bounce. We just got this. We had a little bit of a push, and since then we've had a big tank. So I'm expecting now to start some kind of either flattening out or push. So I'm starting to get a little bit more aggressive on this one. I want to try and get some size on it, really, for a decent move to the upside. So the fact that we've had decent rate increase, or say decent, an expected rate increase is good, but we need the inflation figures, and ideally want them to come out sort of 8 to 10% in the next sort of month or so, and that will give it a real boost. But I'm hoping to be out of it by then. But as you can see, obviously that's come down. So if you look at all the Aussie pairs, we've had that sort of drop. It's not catastrophic. We're not getting massive movement on the rates at the moment, unless there is a very big unexpected change, i.e. they are going way higher than normal or way lower than normal. So kind of business as usual on that one, really, with the Aussie. But obviously we are very extended at the minute, all the way down here. So I'm looking for a decent push. My average was above 225 ADR. So I'm well behind the curve on this. And it's really because of the distance between the positions. So my positions are really spaced out on this, more than an ADR on some of these, because we had big drops, for hours on end, where the thing just tanked and there was no way to get a position on. So it's got a little bit away from me, this one, unfortunately. So I'm just going to have to catch up by getting a bit of size on. But I'm not putting any stops on it at the moment. If we get up to sort of the 5% mark, then I will start to get very aggressive on it. But hopefully we won't get that far. DAX is stalling out a little bit off at these highs, which is fine. Looking for a bit of a pullback. and then hopefully another rally. But if it can rally from here, that'd be lovely. I've got 1% on it now, 1.2%. Oh, come on, a little bit more. No, taking it. Right, I'm just taking that off there. That's got my loss back from this morning. So back to, well, $62 down, not the end of the world. I can concentrate now. But looking for a pullback for long opportunities on that this morning. So that was news this morning. It would be nice if you can speak on pound US dollar. US dollar getting manipulated too often these days now. Always has done. But yeah, I will go through all the pairs this morning. So we've got low speaking at 8:20 this morning. Really? In 5 minutes, we got low speaking. Why is he speaking at 8:20? You should be asleep. Royal Bank of Australia board dinner. I bet he's drunk. That should be interesting. So we've got low speaking. So we might get some movement on the Aussie. We'll watch that in a minute. Then this afternoon, we've got PMIs. We got New Zealand unemployment figures this evening. We've got Orr speaking this evening, and we've got Macklem speaking this evening. So the main thing today is obviously the PMIs this afternoon, which is half an hour after market open now. We have to remember that we are now opening New York at 1:30, not 2:30. So this is half an hour after market open. So we need to be aware of that. Obviously, when we get the open in New York, we will be obviously having some volatility after the market's opened. Then I'm just doing an overview of the news this week because obviously I wasn't on yesterday. On Wednesday, we've got non-farm employment change. Seems weird seeing this at 12:15. It's all an hour out. And then we've got FOMC and the Fed fund rate on Wednesday evening. So this is the biggie. So obviously they're going up 0.75 is a pretty hefty increase. DAX, I'm not sure we're going to get an entry on this morning. It's not letting us in. Yeah, big move. Big moves from the Fed. 0.75. That's a pretty ballsy move going up that far. No different to what we've seen before. So, you know, they are being very, very aggressive. We had that initial 0.5% forecast, and that's when they jumped in with the 0.75. And since then, they've done nothing but 0.75. So they're going for it. They're getting on top of it, or trying to anyway. So that will be difficult to tell what happens with it because it's difficult to know how much of this is priced in. We'll have a look at the US dollar in a minute, but I think a lot of this is probably already priced in. So we might find we get some weakness off of FOMC tomorrow, but we'll see what happens on that one. Or speaking again tomorrow evening. Bank holiday in Japan on Thursday. Quite often when we get bank holidays in Japan, we get a lot of yen manipulation. So we might find we get a big day on the yen, not to the positive side. So we'll have some yen weakness. So we possibly pushes on yen on Thursday. We got Swiss CPI figures. Absolutely tiny. Worse than they were expecting, but way better than the rest of the world. Then we've got Lagarde speaking, and then we've got at 12 o'clock, we've got our interest rates, 0.75 for the UK as well. So again, going up by 0.75%, trying to get ahead of the curve. We've got Bailey then speaking straight after that. And then following that, we've got PMIs to the US dollar. So again, we've got services PMIs, and obviously these were manufacturing tomorrow. So again, busy day on Thursday. And then Friday, we've got non-farm payroll. So an absolute stormer of a week. It's going to be volatile as hell this week. Very, very difficult to trade. I haven't really got a lot of exposure on anything, and I'm not really looking to get an awful lot of exposure on, to be honest, because if you get some unexpected moves coming out of all of this lot, we could see stuff really, really getting into the hole. and having some squeezes start, but lots and lots of movement. So beware of everything this week. Every morning, first thing you got to do is check all of this. We've got CAD unemployment as well on Friday. You need to check all of this every morning because obviously you need to be aware of what is likely to move for the day. So today, we've obviously had the Aussie. We've got PMIs for the US dollar this afternoon. And we've got obviously low talking in a minute. So we'll see what happens there. But US dollar today, overnight, not a lot of news. Obviously just Australian dollar. We had a little bit of Tokyo stuff, but nothing particularly exciting there. So all pretty quiet on unscheduled news. Just getting a little bit of a pullback now on the DAX. So looking for a pullback into this propulsion gap potentially to see if there's another entry there. Obviously we've got this gap fill, so difficult to tell which way we're going to go this morning, but I like it long. We've got lots of news, obviously for earnings today as well. So we've got 3M, Coca-Cola, General Electric and General Motors pre-market. And then we've got Google this afternoon and Microsoft and Spotify and Visa aftermarket. So big day for earnings today. We've also got BP in the UK, which might be why we're getting some movement on the DAX to the upside today. BP are expected to announce $4 billion profits in the last quarter. While we're all struggling to pay our bills, they're making $4 billion. So yeah, there's some other news coming out on the UK markets as well today. We've got all of this lot tomorrow. Pre-market, we've got McDonald's, we've got CME, we've got Boeing, and we've got Ford, we've got Facebook, Apple, Amazon. This is the big one this week. It's absolutely huge from an earnings point of view. Oh, sorry, no, I'm on the wrong week. Start again. I was going to say, hang on a minute, haven't we just had Apple? They did really well. Sorry, start again. Pre-market today, we've got Eli Lilly and Newmont and Pfizer. And then we've got AMD. Who else? We've got Uber. So it's not actually that big this week, is it? Last week was the big one. We've got tomorrow. We've got Etsy. We've got Roku's a biggie. Coinbase. PayPal. Starbucks. Virgin Galactic. So yeah, there's actually not that much, is there, to move it this week? So we might find that we're getting to the end of the runs. We've had a fairly bullish move, obviously, on the indices. Not massively. So this is the earnings. I'm just going with the long. I'll put this on here as well, just with the small ones, just so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, stop, cancel. Buy stop above the high. So this might be the pullback. I'd like to see this be a bit deeper, actually. I'd like to see us at least come and retest this area. But I'm getting ready to take a break out to the upside. So yeah, this is earnings fortnight so far. Not particularly amazing, is it? Considering what we had previous. So we have had some decent moves on the indices, but nothing substantial. So getting ready for next leg down now. So the Dow has been the biggest winner out of the earnings. And obviously DAX has had a very, very, very good run as well. We had like 6-7 days solid up, and it's still going at the moment. So looking for everything to start to fizzle out now and start next leg down. But obviously we do quite often have a run up to Christmas. So they call it the Santa rally. In a bull market, we typically have a very big run up into Christmas. This is a bear market. And to be honest, this is probably the first bear market I've been in, trading indices, at a Christmas period. So we were in a bear market there in the run up to Christmas. Let's have a look at what happened there. That's COVID. So that's after Christmas. Yeah, so we're October there. So this is the last bear market we had, and this is December here. Okay, so whereas we normally get a bull run into Christmas, where are we? December. There we go. So there's your bull run into Christmas. That's the norm in a bull market. This is the last bear market we had when we came up to a Christmas period, and look at the size of that drop. This was 2018 though, so financial crash. So it's a little bit difficult to tell what we're going to get this Christmas. But where are we? December. So there's the bull run there. December bull. We had a bear there. So that one, this was 2016. So that one we were kind of sideways. October, November. Actually, that's December there, isn't it? That's January. Yeah, that was a sideways one. So it's difficult to tell what we're going to get this year, because obviously we haven't had a bear run like this for, well, you can see we haven't had a bear run like this. This is just not a recognizable sort of pattern that we're in at the minute. So very difficult to tell what's going to happen. You have to kind of assume that we're going to get a run to the downside because we're in a pullback. So we're expecting another leg down. Nothing's changed. We're still in we haven't even really touched into the recession yet, have we? So I reckon we should start looking for shorts now on all the indices. So if you do want a position trade, I've got the DAX set up at the moment on the EA to start getting me into shorts. So I've got the DAX here set for short orders. Yeah, so it's going to start getting me in on reversal alerts when we've got hourly extensions to the upside. I'm just going to take off the 72 moving average filter at the moment because we're above the MA. So I want to be getting into shorts on this when we're extended on the hourly. So I will be starting short positions on the DAX long term. We're just pushing down at the moment towards a propulsion gap. So I'm just getting ready to start looking for a long on this. See if we get some bullish price action coming in. So yeah, so all indices basically another bull day. So we had a little bear day yesterday, but after, we're having a bull run at the minute. So all of these I will be starting to think might be doing some shorts. NASDAQ, as you can see, NASDAQ's really struggled in this earnings. Last week we've not made any ground at all with the NAS. Tech stocks have really got hammered compared to the rest. So not good for tech. So hopefully we will see the NAS be the first one to start that move basically to the downside. So we just retested. So I'm just going to go with the buy stop above the highs on this current candle. Oil yesterday, we had a bit of a bear move yesterday on oil. It's really struggling at the moment, oil. We are still bullish. So we've had the reverse alert on the daily. This is the peak formation low we put in. We broke the high. We pulled back nicely, retested, and we started our move up. But our move up has been very, very stifled. We've had a whole week where we just basically didn't go anywhere. Then we broke out of that high. And since we've broken out of that high again, we haven't managed to get any real progress. Today looks like it possibly wants to put a bullish engulfing in. It's certainly having a go at it, isn't it? So looking for new highs, basically, and just want to keep challenging these highs. So that's the high of October. And then we got the high there of August. So those are targets initially to hit on our way up to that 100 to 110 a barrel that's been called by December. Obviously, the speed it gets there is entirely up to oil. But I would only really be looking for longs on this at the moment. It's just very weak. You know, every time we get these pushes, it's pulling back quite hard. It's very violent in its movement at the moment, which is great because if you're getting into a position and you're timing it right, you're out of it straight away. But obviously, if you're getting your timing very wrong, it's going to hurt. So looking on the hourlies, any extensions on the hourlies, you had one yesterday. I think a few people posted in Telegram, they got into this one yesterday. So lovely propulsion gap test there. We had a bullish engulfing go in. And if you got into that one yesterday, it's off. So your entry would have been down there in New York. So yeah, it looks very nice all this morning in Asia if you're looking at M15. But yeah, it looks good for potentially a new leg up. That's going to be way over an ADR today if we're going to get there. So might be quite tough for it to manage that today. More likely see that sort of price action in legs up. But if you measure this, obviously that move there, we had the initial push, we had a lovely retracement on it, and that leg up there, 61.8 retracement. So it's all market structure wise, it's all pretty textbook if we're going to continue in this vein. So this is your low, we're going to put in a new high, then we'll pull back and push on the way up to last month's high. And obviously from there, we'll go and challenge previous month, August's. So looking good for oil, for longs, if you're interested in oil. I'm not trading it at the moment. I just want to try and keep myself to FX pairs, and I'm more into observing oil at the minute as a potential candidate for me trading it. But it's these big moves I don't like. These it's like, you know, OPEC will say something and it just moves so fast and erratically. And the reason I got really interested in oil was because I like to trade stuff I understand, and it made total sense to me, oil, from a supply demand perspective. It's a really logical thing, isn't it? If people want more of something, they pay more for it if there's less of it available. It's just that this doesn't seem to be apply those rules. Every time we've seen that we've had like negative barrel counts or something, it's gone the wrong way. So the logic I was expecting to see on oil hasn't really been there. But at the end of the day, it is in demand at the moment, and it will be in demand for the next sort of 10, 20 years. So it's going to be moved around. And as long as it's moving, you can make money out of it. It just doesn't seem very logical to me at the minute. But from a market structure perspective, it's very nice and orderly. It's just bigger swings than I was anticipating initially on this. So I'm watching at the moment, but I like it long at the minute, definitely, from where we are there because of that break. So it's looking good. Just tagged into a long on the DAX. Might be a little tight on that stop if we are going to come back and retest, but we'll see. Right, so ADRs today, we've just got Aussie New Zealand. It's a new month, new week. Aussie New Zealand obviously has hit this morning. That's the only one we've got so far. We've got a lovely bounce off of ADR and start to push up. Didn't get a reversal alert though. Very big wiki candle there. So we're just retesting ADR again. So if this is going to form a double bottom, potentially this reversal alert will see us pushing back up into these propulsion gaps. You can't see it here because there's a big gap down on it, but that is obviously a propulsion gap. That whole thing there really is. It's come and retested it there. So I would say that area there really is where I would look to probably find some sellers if we are going to try to push back down again. So yeah, Aussie New Zealand looks good for longs. It's very nicely extended. We're just about extended on the hourly, but very nicely extended on the 4 hourly. And this is a really big push without any profit take whatsoever. So talking about the elastic band getting stretched, there was no profit take on that move at all, and it's big old move. So we are what, 226 pips, 60, 120, 180, pretty much 4 ADR, isn't it? 4 ADR move to the downside with no upward momentum whatsoever. We've just had the rates announced, so obviously now the market knows what the rates are. Hopefully we'll start to see some buyers coming in. They're forecasting inflation to get up to 8%. So again, that will help. But I'd like to see the market now start to price in some positive movement on this, with a view for the CPI figures coming out. So let's see if we can get some movement on this one today. I would expect this to be the last push down, but who knows? That's your low. We've well and truly taken that out. We've got lows here as well to look at. So there's a good couple of levels there, which has been very well respected in the past. We've got this level here as well. So this zone, 100 to 150 ADR today, if we do push down into that zone, that would be a good area to get in aggressive if you want to. I kind of do want to get in aggressive on this, but I want to see some bullish movement first before I start to get in aggressive. I want to see a reversal alert hold, and then I will start to potentially scale in on some market structure pullbacks. But at the minute, this thing's just tanking. So that's all you've got on ADRs. We've got quite a few 4 hours. Aussie New Zealand, obviously, we've already looked at. CAD Swiss is currently extended to the downside as well. Sorry, to the upside. It's already played out. Missed it. So I was going to say this one was very nicely extended above 75. It's already gone this morning. So you're either in it or you're not. You've missed it if you're not. Euro New Zealand. Obviously, with that one, you can wait for a pullback if you get one on the CAD Swiss. So if you've missed the entry on that, if you get a pull back, you could take another reverse alert to the downside. We've pushed below the daily EMA on Aussie New Zealand, 200. Yeah. Yes. Big downward move that. But yeah, I mean, looking for support and resistance. I have this on here as a kind of long term, but I don't pay any attention to bounces on the 200 or on any EMA really. I mean, they're an area, you know, it will, you know, we see it all the time, don't we? It will poke its head down below. It's just telling you that we are at a point where we're either going to bounce or we're going to go back the other way. And even if we're going to go back the other way, we're going to pull back before we do it. So we're waiting for this, aren't we? So the next one of those, I fully intend to take advantage of. And I'm just waiting to see some signs of bullish momentum on this. But 4 days solid down and an ADR hit. This looks like it's reaching for something to me. So I think we might well get that pullback. Euro New Zealand, again, strong New Zealand dollar. Euro's coming down anyway. So Euro's doing very, very nicely to the downside. My Euro Swiss that I got out of, I'm quite glad I got out of it. But obviously, as I said when I posted it, I do think it's coming down. I just needed to get a little bit flat on this one because it's hurt me. And I wanted to get out with a bit of a loss, just to get out of it because I've had enough. Certain pairs, you just think, I've just had enough of you. And Euro Swiss was one of those. Euro New Zealand coming down very nicely, extended to the downside. I'd be looking more for those rather than longs. But again, don't really know with this one. Euro is strong, but with the rates and everything that's going on in the Eurozone, I still think it's bearish. I still think the Euro is a short. I just don't think it's quite as good of a short as it has been. I think it sounds like I've just got out of pound Swiss. Yes. So that's coming down. Oops. So I'm out pound Swiss now. 0.9%. So that's me done on the pound Swiss. Had a lot of exit. Obviously, my exits there. I've made quite a decent amount. I think I was 3.5% up on pound Swiss in total. So with all those that I've just got out of there, oh my god. Time. Oh, got a rebate. So nice of you. 213. So that's all of those out completely flat now. So those last of the old positions down there, and then these ones here, and then break even on that. So nice exit. Yesterday's low, good move on the Swissy. So Euro Swiss you'll find is probably coming down as well. Same levels. So yeah, Euro New Zealand. Yeah, it's weak. I like it as a short still. So I would be looking for some kind of pullback to get in short on that one. But from a mean reversion perspective, obviously it's come down. It's likely to pull back. Just don't get too greedy if you're going to long it. It is with the trend at the moment, obviously, this Euro New Zealand. Yeah, the trend is currently up, but the trend at the moment is coming down, isn't it? So, and that's my kind of long-term bias on this one. New Zealand dollar Swiss, big strong move to the upside. Strong New Zealand at the moment. You can see we've got lots of positive movement across the board on New Zealand, even against the US dollar. So big move up on the New Zealand dollar Swiss. That one on the 4 hour obviously is starting to play out this morning. So the reverse alert, you've just had the reverse alert and the retest this morning. M5, very nice reversal retest. Somebody was asking about this and what a retest is, and I sent them to the website to have a look. But all the retest arrow is basically is when you've had a reverse alert, if you draw a box from the bottom of the reverse alert until the high, it's basically price moving out of that zone. So you can see the candle that the arrow is above is this one here. Yeah, that candle there. Because it pushed up into the retest zone and then closed back down below it. So that's basically what triggers that, and that's your potentially your M. And there is no best setting. It's whatever you whatever you prefer. And New Zealand dollar yen still pushing up against the yen. Haven't had a look at the yens since last week. I'll have a look at all of those in a minute as well. Actually, I'll do those now. But yeah, nice extended to the upside. I really wouldn't want to be touching the yen too much at the moment, just in case the Bank of Japan intervene. We'll have a look at where we are with the yen. But that is nicely extended from a reversion perspective. Obviously, you've got a nice double top going in at the moment as well. So some kind of pullback potentially before next leg up. So looking at the yens quickly, let's see where we are with these. Not really gone anywhere since the intervention, have we? I feel like I've been off for ages. I've had literally one day off, but it's because of the back of a weekend. I feel like I haven't looked at charts for days. Excuse me. So yen, obviously we had the intervention, and then we had the second intervention, which didn't happen. They denied it. Obviously it did. We can see when an intervention comes, we're not stupid, Japan. And the US dollar has been very weak of late, of the last few days. So it hasn't managed to regain any ground. So this could well be the start of a move lower. We are just starting to sell off without making a new high. So the sellers that obviously caused this, the intervention, we came back up into the propulsion gap, pushed back down again. We've come back up to retest it. We've pushed back down again. So if we can put a new low in here, potentially this is the start of some yen strength. You need to look at all the yens together to see how basically to sort of gauge the strength in the yen. So we're getting a big push up there. Pound sideways, euro sideways, Swiss sideways, yen, Aussie rather sideways. So there's no real indication of any strength or weakness with the yen at the moment. It's all just kind of being battered around sideways at the minute. But that means we haven't got a weak yen, doesn't it? So that's better than we've had, because what we've had is non-stop weakness in this thing. You know, it's been absolutely flying up, isn't it? Everything's been flying up against the yen. So it seems to have stalled out, which is good. And I think it's the market basically sitting and watching and waiting to see what the Bank of Japan does next. They announced last night they're going to sell off a load more bonds, 48 billion. In second non-competitive sale. I'm not quite sure what the second non-competitive sale is. A non-competitive sale, but yeah. So there's more bond sale going on. You know, it's still trying to dig itself out, and it has stabilized. So I'm more wanting to press the short button on everything against the yen than I am wanting to press the long button at the minute. But at the moment, it isn't going anywhere. I want to see some movement. I want to see some non-intervention, normal market movement on this to show some kind of strength or weakness either way. At the minute, we're getting nothing on it. So I'm still sitting on the sidelines with these yens. Morning, Faith. From Kenya, just very new, but how will I start Forex trading? Go to a website called babypips.com, start there. Do their free course, babypips.com. That'll teach you all the basics. Hourlies, we've got Euro New Zealand extended on the hourly, as you'd imagine. It's extended on the 4 hourly, so we're nicely embedded down there. So again, potentially a mean reversion opportunity there into that propulsion gap. However, it is counter trend, so be careful. I'd much rather be doing that. And pound New Zealand, very extended and embedded as well. And again, New Zealand dollar's strong at the moment. Pound, I want to be selling it at the moment. So the pound as well, we need to think about what's going on with the pound. This week is obviously a big day for the pound. We've got the rate on Thursday. And obviously we've got the votes for what's going to be happening moving forward. We're going to have Bailey talking. So Thursday is going to decide what happens with the pound. The rates, every time we get these rates at the moment, as we've seen with the Aussie this morning, if the rates are coming out as expected, unless it's the US dollar, we tend to be having a negative effect on currency pricing. Inflation is great for currency. Interest rates, not so much, neutral to bearish, unless they come out different. It's unlikely any country is ever going to shoot for a 1% increase. So to get to a 3.25, we haven't seen it yet, and I don't think we will. However, this is the pound. We are in real poo-poo at the minute. And there's massive taxation coming in the next budget in a couple of weeks' time. So we might see the Bank of England doing something a little bit different. It's difficult to tell what's going to happen. I don't really want to start any new pound positions until we've got these rates. I might try and scalp these, but I don't really want to be trading in them. So, or starting new positions in them. So I think at the minute what we've got to do is just wait for the rate announcement to come out. But we could see some serious strength or weakness coming in the pound. More likely, I think, weakness. So where we're extended, and I think this is possibly the market getting ready for this. So any kind of pullback and push back down and new lows, I think we'll probably see that sort of movement coming on Thursday. But right now, if you want to get into pound New Zealand as a mean reversion, just be a bit careful. I think we might see the market sell into the rate announcement. So that's all we got extended there on the 21. I'm sorry, that was the 21s. These are the 14s, Aussie New Zealand's extended, Euro New Zealand. It's nothing we haven't looked at. It's all the same stuff. Pound New Zealand, New Zealand dollar, US dollar extended to the upside, just taking out the highs there. Nice liquidity run just gone in on that. Just had the reversal alert, which has pulled you back down below there. Nice stop short there. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. And US dollar CAD, as you know, I've just got into my first position long on that one. We've just invalidated that reversal alert. So we'll see if we can get second leg W on that one. But yeah, liking US dollar CAD. Nicely extended on that one. And we're sitting in this propulsion gap at the moment. We've also got some decent support on its way down here as well. So if we get a push back down further, and then we've got obviously ADR below that. So how far away is that? Well, we 70, half an ADR. So if we got into an ADR situation this morning, today I'll take a second entry down there. But other than that, first entry on that, like it for a long. So that's all of your dashboards covered. I'm going to quickly whiz through all the pairs. If there's anything you want me to look at in any more detail, let me know. DAX has stalled out this morning. Just sitting at the moment sideways after that initial push. Bulls have stepped in, but there's no follow through. So I get a feeling we might trickle back down into the 2050 area and potentially get a pop from there. But this is worrying me, this gap. It's just the size of this gap. If you look at this size of this gap on the daily, it's a biggie today. Yeah, that one there, that one there, that one there. Yeah, when we get these big gaps, you quite often get that big bull run off of them. Big push up, and then we come back down and do the gap. So we get the big push, then we come back down. Yeah, so it always worries me though when there's one there. I like it long, definitely like it long this morning, but I'm always worried when there's a gap there because I know it's going to get filled. I just don't know whether they're going to come and do it today. What I'm hoping today is we get the bull run. If they do that, yeah, push up and then come back down, that's absolutely fine. Or if they put a bull day in, that's fine. But at the moment, we haven't gone anywhere. So I kind of want to get that move up done. And we've got that nice resistance ahead of us as well. So an ADR target today is very much on the cards, I think. After the size of that gap, but it's always a worry when there's a gap there because we know they get filled. It's just whether they're going to do it today or not. And if they're going to do it today, obviously it's going to hurt. But we've also just, if you look, filled that one. So we've actually gapped up to fill the previous gap. But this is, it's earnings. This always happens in earnings. It's always a very volatile, jumpy thing in earnings. Anyway, so we'll see what happens with that one this morning. So Aussies. So the new rate announcement for the Aussie, obviously being as expected. So with all of these, what was the last interest rate on the Aussie? When was the last interest rate on the Aussie? When is the next one? That's more important. Employment. Tell you what to do. Inflation. '16th wage price index. We don't get Aussie inflation figures. We don't, do we? That's all we get. MI inflation gauge, which is yellow. Don't get any decent inflation figures, do we, with them? So, oh, really? So yeah, it's difficult to know what we're going to do with this Aussie now. I still, we can see obviously we're in a bear move at the moment on it. We know that. Moving forward, it's very difficult to forecast what's going to happen with this. It's a highly commodity driven, mineral driven export country, and in hard times we stop manufacturing slows down because retail slows down, everything slows down in a recession, and you start importing less, and you start exporting less, which is generally why we tend to see everything starting to come down, which is what we're seeing now at the start of the recession. So with the Aussies, I think we may well get into the situation we've had with the euro over the last couple of years, where the Aussie is going to start to get batted around by the other currencies, which makes it very difficult to sort of forecast. So at the moment, I think you have to stay in line with what we can see, and at the moment we can see obviously the Aussie is very, very weak. Forget about the yen. Swiss franc, obviously, when that powers up, we know that will beat anything. Canadian dollar being dragged along with oil and with the US dollar should be stronger than the Aussie, and the US dollar, obviously, as we know, will trump everything as long as the Fed is not being ridiculous and doing something stupid. The New Zealand dollar is the one that I was expecting it to beat, which it's not at the moment. So at present, it's difficult to call with the Aussie. So you have to kind of look at it from a trend perspective, I think. Fundamentally, I think it will recover against its twin. So I think it will start to beat the New Zealand dollar back, or at least go into a range. And if it goes into a range, that's fine. We can deal with that. With the rest, however, I suspect we should probably be looking for short opportunities on this one. So everything in line with trend at the minute. Looking for extensions to the upside on the hourlies and the 4 hourlies on the RSI. And then just take continuation shorts until we know otherwise. Have to just keep our eyes peeled on the news, really, with the Australians. And we just have to kind of assume that they are going to continue slightly contracting, in which case, obviously, the currency is just going to start to continue its path to the downside. So all of these shorts at the moment. We've just had a nice one on the Aussie Swiss this morning, which is starting to come down very nicely. This one's just about got extended on the hourly there in that propulsion gap. So just looking for short opportunities on all of these, stay in line with the current trend. Yen, not sure about on any of the ends, so kind of ignore that unless you've got a bias on the yen. Obviously, then do whatever you want to do with your bias. But bear in mind, when this powers up or weakens, it will power up and weaken across the board against everything. So your bias, when you're talking about things like the US dollar and the yen, you have to have a bias on that. Forget what happened. Whatever your bias is on the Aussie, this is going to win. This is going to trump it when it decides to move. So other than that, kind of got to go with the current trend. Obviously, this Aussie New Zealand was the only one we had a bullish trend on. Everything else has been short. So it looks to be like, obviously, this is now starting to trickle over into that side as well. But I would want to see some kind of strength on it, especially after a move of that magnitude, 4 ADR move to the downside with no pullbacks. So looking for some kind of bullish price action to start, and then I can start getting aggressive on that one. But other than that, bearish on all Aussies. 1 ADR move soon on the Euro Swiss. It's getting there. CAD Swiss. So the Swiss franc obviously massively strong this morning. We can see that the Swissies on an absolute mission this morning, stomping on everything. And this is, this is what I keep saying when I keep saying the Swissy, when it powers up, it powers up. Yeah, when the Swissy's going for it, it's on the move. So a lot of money going through the Swiss this morning. Everything you take this week, you've got to obviously bear in mind. Look at the red on this week. Look at the red. It's just full of it all week, and it's not normal red. It's interest rates, unemployment. It's all proper red news. It's the big stuff this week. So anything you take from a position trading perspective this week, excuse me, you've got to bear in mind that you are going to get moved around by the news. So with news weeks like this, we see an awful lot of that, and then that, and then that, and then that, and then that. Yeah. So you're going to get these moves. You've got to be in positions ready for them. So, trying to catch these moves, quite often they're gone so quick, so fast, so hard. You just can't get on them. So you've got to have a bias on them. The Canadian dollar at the moment, bias would be long because it's linked to US and oil, and we're expecting all of this to go up. However, obviously, when the Swissy wants to power up, the Swissy's going to bash it. It doesn't matter what the other currency does; it will beat the US dollar as well. So, but it's only temporary; it's short term. On US dollar CAD there on the hourly. So yeah, I like this. Obviously, short term, it's been short. We've had a weak CAD. We've had a decent Swissy off the back of the rates. Yeah, since that rate announcement on the Swiss franc, they got ahead of the curve. It's done very, very well. However, that's all going to be starting to come to an end, I think, now. So we got the double bottom bounce, and we're starting to move to the upside. So you've got to say some kind of support and resistance to the upside is where we're headed. Quite where it's going to stop, don't know, but we are extended in a downtrend. So it's a good looking short opportunity. Your alert was there, which was yesterday. 31st, yeah. So your alert on it was yesterday. So any entries yesterday, obviously, you're in the money at the moment. But yeah, difficult to tell with this one with strength either way. But I'd like it personally at the moment. I prefer it long than short. But obviously, no entries on it apart from that one at the double bottom. So, but yeah, CAD Swiss not really interested in that one at the moment. Nothing particularly exciting, unless you want to get in short on it, obviously, in which case you've missed it. You should be in it already. CAD yen, don't know. It's a yen pair. Swiss yen, don't know. It's a yen pair. Don't know about any of these yen pairs. Shorts on all of them. That's interesting. The Swiss yen, obviously, we know the Swissy is very, very strong at the moment. That's all it's managed. That massive Swiss franc move, that's all it's managing against the yen. You see, we've got that strength on the yen at the minute. It's holding everything back. Euros, just starting to roll over very nicely on the Euros. So we had the run up into the rates. Market wasn't impressed. Looks like it's going to start to roll over. So all of these are starting bear moves now. Obviously, we know about this one. Missed it out too soon yesterday, unfortunately, but obviously I didn't know what was going to happen today. Euro pound is flatlined. Euro yen, don't know about. Euro New Zealand starting to come down, and Euro US starting to roll over. So everything Euro is just starting to roll over now. We haven't had much bullish talk coming out of Lagarde. So I suspect that we will just start to see this gradually moving back downwards. So I'll be looking for short opportunities on it. So anything that's extended to the upside, obviously for short entries, and same on the hourlies, any extensions to the upside on the hourly to take shorts. But it's very difficult at the moment to gauge long term what's going to happen with the euro. The big thing we've got hanging over us obviously is the war in Ukraine still, which will affect the eurozone dramatically. We've got the grain situation in the Black Sea at the moment. Russia is saying it's going to stop honouring the grain deal to get the grain out of Ukraine and into Europe and everywhere else, because the Ukrainians can't guarantee the safety of the Russian boats. Figure that. And we've obviously got still the issues with all of the supply of oil and gas. So Europe's in a pickle in a number of ways. Financially, it's been in a mess, as we know, for a long time. So we've had, with most of the euro pairs, obviously, we've had a very, very, very strong downward momentum, not so much against the pound, obviously, but and it started to pick up into the rates, but obviously the rates haven't helped. So we are still seeing lots of downward movement coming through, like these big, strong spikes to the downside. The Euro Swiss is the only one we didn't get that on, and sod's law, that was the one I chose to get into, which is always the way, isn't it? But yeah, like it short. So I'd be looking at the moment. Obviously, we are above the 24 and the 72, so we're bullish on a lot of these euro pairs at the moment. But as you can see, we are starting to roll over. So the question is are we going to find support and move up, or is this rollover starting to go with what we would expect fundamentally to happen, which is the euro devaluing further? So difficult time to make decisions on these ones. Personally, I'm still going to be looking for shorts. So I'll be looking for any pushes up and then shorts. I'm going to set my EA up, basically. I'm going to rework the pairs that I'm in at the minute. Euro US dollar I'm still in. I've still got the EA running on. I haven't had an opportunity to get into it at the moment, so we haven't had any opportunities yet on this one. I want to pick another pair to get in shorts on. I'm just trying to figure out what is the best thing to actually trade against the euro at the moment. It's probably going to be the CAD, but obviously at the moment that's above the 72 moving average, so I need to readjust the EA so that it starts to get me into these opportunities for shorts. So but yeah, any of these I like short now. You can see how we've obviously rallied and we've stopped, basically. Nice little wick off spring there, pulling back what looks like being ready for next leg down on all the euros. Pound, no idea on this. We can't really make any decisions on this one until Thursday. Highly unlikely that is going to come out as anything above 3, but it could come out as less than 3. Who knows? What we've got at the moment in the UK is a perfect storm of a mess. We've got, obviously, Liz Truss come in, completely tanked and destroyed the market for the pound. Bank of England had to intervene, and then it turned around and said, nah, we're not doing this. Sorry, can't do it, can't afford it. So we've now got a new government and a new chancellor who are basically just pushing back further and further their announcement as to what they're going to do, because they don't have anything they can do apart from tax the hell out of us. Taxing the hell out of us takes more money out of our pockets. More money out of our pockets means we don't spend as much. Less retail spending means contraction in the economy. Lower economy means weaker currency. So at the moment, until we get that budget announcement on the 17th of November, it's virtually impossible to do anything with the pound unless you want to take a speculative short now and assume that we are going to get what we think we're going to get, which is massive taxation, which should do that. However, economic growth is what we're after, and not taxing businesses helps them to invest, which is bullish. So it really is difficult to say which way that we should be going on the pound at the moment until we get that budget. And then we need to see what the market makes of it. If we see a sharp downturn in it, that tells us. If we see a sharp upturn, again, that tells us what we need to be doing. I don't know. I'm not an economist. So until we actually get that news coming out and we see what the market's reaction to it is, as you can see, the market isn't factoring anything in at the moment. They're sideways. When we get rate announcements and things like that, you see 3 or 4 weeks before, the market starts to factor in and what they call pricing in the move. So they price in what they expect is going to happen. This is why when news happens and it isn't as expected, we get that massive movement to the upside or the downside, because the market is expecting you to do something. If you do something different, obviously it's got to react. When we have a bias on something and the market comes out as expected news and the market's factored in, we tend to get that pullback and continuation, or we just get that continuation, don't we? So as expected news tends to be either bullish or bearish, depending on what the current movement is on a particular currency. We haven't got one on the pound at the moment. We're sideways. So I don't think the rate announcement necessarily on Thursday is going to have a massive directional impact. It's probably going to have a lot of volatility, yes. We'll probably see that sort of price action. We could see it, move quite sharply, but I think it will retrace because it's November the 17th, which is the important point in time for the pound, which is our budget, our fiscal policy. What are we going to be doing moving forward to get ourselves out of this mess? That's what we need to know. So all of these pounds at the minute, like I said last week, you want to be looking at range highs and lows for potential entries. And just look for areas of support and resistance. It doesn't have to be exact. It's never going to be exact, but somewhere around here, I'd like to be looking longs, and somewhere around there, I'd like to be looking shorts on the pound odd, for example. Pound CAD, somewhere around there, somewhere down there. We're in the middle at the minute. So, all of these, any trades you take today are flipping a coin, because we've no idea where we're going to go and we've no idea what we're going to do on Thursday. So, it's a very tricky thing to sort of make a move on at the moment. Pound Swiss, again, pound yen, sideways. We don't know about the yen. Pound New Zealand, we're coming back down to these lows. Look, we've got highs up there. We've got a small micro range high there. So, if we get an ADR hit, anything that you see the pound, if the pound gets an ADR hit or it gives an RSI extension, it means that we've had a strong move. That's likely to be just reaching for liquidity to take it back the other way at the minute. So any ADR hits, any RSI extensions you get, any ADRs, any RSIs, got pound New Zealand at the moment on the hourly. So look at where we are when you see these alerts coming in, and then look at where is the most likely place they're going to come and try and grab some liquidity to run back in the other direction with. So, down there, 19,500 New Zealand. If we get down to there today, good looking long opportunity. If you want to, stick a limit order. Stick a buy limit there with a stop on it. That's really all you can do with these at the minute. Pound US dollar is a short still. Again, we're in our biggest pullback at the moment. You see we've pulled back above the 72 a couple of times, but normally the 24 is what holds us down. And at the moment, obviously, with what has happened, the thing's in a mess and in a bit of turmoil, the pound. But we've also had on the back of it a weak US dollar. Let me just clear my charts up. What's that doing on there? we've had a weak US dollar, which obviously the pound has managed to take a little bit of an advantage of. But obviously now we've got FOMC this week and the rates. Again, this one, if you're going to get into trades on this right now, yeah, no problem. Don't try and pick a direction. What's the FOMC doing on Wednesday? What's the Bank of England doing on Thursday? Unless you have solid answers to those questions, you can't take a position on this now because you've got no idea where it's going this week. You can take scalps by all means, no problem at all. Take RSI extension scalps in and out, but in and out fast. And I would ideally obviously be using stops on these to get in and out, but no way of telling, have we, at the moment? So you can't really enter any trades on these with any kind of guarantees as to anything. You never have a guarantee to anything, obviously, but that's what I'd be looking for. Potentially, maybe a double bottom bounce, but that's all you can do. New Zealand dollar is very strong at present. It's doing very well against a lot of other currencies. As you can see, we've got a nice big bullish move going on, apart from the Swissy at the moment, which is hammering everything. It's beating the yen, beating the US dollar. So very, very nice, strong moves to the upside. However, obviously New Zealand dollar long term, not as strong as the CAD, not as strong as the Swiss, not as strong as the US dollar. No reason why it should be stronger than any of those. So where we are right now is a good area to start looking for short opportunities on those three. New Zealand dollar Swiss is the best thing at the moment. New Zealand dollar Swiss, you've got that extension, but obviously, as I said, you've missed it if you weren't in it this morning, but you can still get in on a pullback. So looking at the hourlies on it really is your last entry on it. See if you can get a retest on the hourly. That's all we can do really with that. But yeah, like those shorts. So again, everything at the moment, I'm trying to stay in line with the long-term trend. I don't think the New Zealand dollar is going to continue its strength. At some point, the CAD is going to power up and we're going to get that movement. But, you can't do anything at the moment until we've got FOMC and all these rate announcements out of the way. And then we know which way the market's going to be going. We've got strength potentially on the CAD on Friday with the employment figures. So they've been doing really well, as you can see, with unemployment, getting on top of it. So it's all going well. So potentially we've got continuation there. So strength on Friday for the Canadian dollar. So you could start, there's just no extensions, is there? But you could start to get into a short now, assuming that we're doing a liquidity run of those highs. If we break back down and you get a 1 hour reversal alert, or you get a 15 potentially, look at these highs. Yeah. So everybody that's shorted there, liquidity's there. Everybody that's shorted there, liquidity's there. Everybody that's shorted there, liquidity's there. Liquidity's gone. If we break back down, that's a 3-day stop run we've just taken out. So we'll be coming back down to find that liquidity next. Again, range bound. I don't think anything's going to move in any direction this week until we've got FOMC out of the way. So range bound opportunities, really. Quick ins, quick outs. And US dollars. So US dollar still like long. And again, waiting for the Fed. So it's long at the moment. We're in a bit of a weak spell on the US, but I think the Fed will probably pump that up on Wednesday. But we will see. Again, notoriously undecisive. Sometimes we have FOMCs which are totally flat. Sometimes they go absolutely mental. This one, I think, is going to be one of those latter. I think we're going to have a mental one. We've got the press conference, which is always good fun. And then obviously we've got the rate. So big one, I think, on Wednesday. But we'll see what happens. Say really hard to make decisions on anything this week because you've got so much news. It's all about the news. But news is lots of opportunities. So I'll be looking for all these news events. I'll be watching. And I say at the moment, I'm really focusing on my funded accounts and just scalping. And these news events are absolutely beautiful for scalping. They really move all the indices really, really nicely. So, but any FX pair obviously is going to be impacted by them at the moment. And you know, things like the currency strength, when you've got a news event coming, if you are going to get a strong move on the US dollar, for example, this afternoon on the PMI figures, what should you be trading it against? New Zealand dollar at the minute, because what goes up must come down. So if this is going to pump, money's going to get dragged out of things like the New Zealand dollar. So you can use the currency strength to your advantage when you're looking at getting into news trades. But seeing this Russian stuff here, nothing exciting. So yeah, so decent movements basically this week, but direction wise, who knows at the moment? Could go anywhere. Anybody got anything else you want to look at in any more detail? I've covered pretty much everything, I think. Anyway, what's going on with crypto? I haven't looked at crypto for a while, have we? Not a lot. Dead. Crypto is officially dead. Flatlined. So that's when the boom officially started. So we've still got a bit of room to go, haven't we? It's that 12,600 level to the downside. So as the indices start their next leg down, I think we're going to see a flush on this. So crypto is pretty easy to find a breakout on, isn't it? That's an obvious level. That's an obvious level. Yeah. So 18,174. If we trade below 18,174, I'd be like shorting your house on it. If you've got it, get out. I just sold all my crypto last week, actually. Well, I haven't sold it. I just transferred it all into money. There's no point in holding any crypto at the minute because it's all going down. Gold shorts at the minute still. So still be looking for short opportunities on that. Every time we get a pump, look for the next dump, basically. So just reverse alerts M15 or hourly. You'd be pretty safe with any bearish move, I think, on this, especially ahead of Wednesday. Right, so that's all I've got for you at the minute. As I say, all I've got on at the moment is my US dollar CAD, which I've put on this morning, and that DAX scalp that I'm in at the minute, which isn't going anywhere. Absolute mess of a DAX this morning. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 candles sideways. So basically this propulsion move, they're just buying out the propulsion move at the minute. So no movement. Starting to come down a little bit now, maybe. So got potential very, very, very low risk buy here. If you want to buy it right now, stop there. I mean, even if you just trade it back up to the high of that last 5-minute candle, you've got a 3-to-1 risk reward there, haven't you? Not going anywhere. Nothing's moving, is it? This is what it's like. It's horrible. I hate trading news weeks because it's what I'm saying, you know, then we wait for the next news and wait for the next news. Can't do anything. You just have to sit there and sit through all this rubbish, which makes life very tricky. I blew my evaluation, by the way, on that that new prop firm I was trying out stupidly. I'm going to do it again. They've got an offer on at the moment. So I can't remember what they were called. That prop firm. Take Profit Trader. There we go. So I blew the account on it, unfortunately. I tried to get cocky. I had, if you remember, I did way too much profit on one day. And they've got a consistency rule of this 50%. And I had to get another fairly big day in, and I got a little bit too cocky on it, and I forgot about the daily loss. And unfortunately, I hit the daily loss. I didn't do my maths. This is the thing I hate about futures trading is you have to rely on Rhythmic, and you can't have Rhythmic open at the same time as your trading platform. I trade on Jigsaw, and you can't have Jigsaw and Rhythmic open at the same time. So it's really hard to actually see it. You have to do manual calculations in your head, and I got caught out on a whipsaw and unfortunately blew it. So I'm going to take another one. They've got an offer at the minute. This October 30 offer, which is 30% off, which ends today. So I'm going to sign up. Oh, it was yesterday. I wasn't, my head wasn't in it yesterday at all. I wonder if it still works. I'll have to do that when I log in. I'm just going to try that again. But what I've decided to do is I'm probably going to go for the 150. It's a much bigger target, but you've only got to do 10. You've only got to 10 days, pass in 10 days. So I've just got to trade consistently for 10 days, which is not too difficult to do, but obviously I want to have the biggest buffer I can possibly get. So I'm going to redo that because I really want to pass an evaluation with them, because I think this has got the potential to be a very exciting firm. It's run by a bloke which has got a square head on his shoulders. He's an ex-hockey player, and he's got money behind him. He set the rules up in here that you actually get paid when you want to get paid, and it's the first company that's done this where I can draw money out when I want to draw money out. So if I have a good day and I make 2.5K in a day, I can take the 2.5K out. I haven't got to wait 8 to 10 days or months with some of the prop firms like Apex. I haven't got to wait ages to withdraw my money. So, and the other thing that excites me about them is the fact that they're going to start doing FX trading as well, which means we should, as well as futures, be able to trade Forex with them. So trading indices with instant payouts, which again is the other thing about my Forex funds I like. My Forex funds, I only have to wait a couple of weeks to get my money, 8 days, which is great. But all the others, you have to wait a little bit longer. So these guys have got a real chance of being the best. They support all software as well. So basically, Jigsaw is what I use, but every platform under the sun. So unfortunately, I've only done the one evaluation with them, which I got into day 5. I was very, very close to target as well, unfortunately, but I'll get it up. So I'm going to start that again. We got to be so. And the other thing about this company as well, which I didn't realize, you can only have one evaluation running at a time. You can have more than one evaluation running at a time. But you can only have one funded account at a time. With Apex, I used to run multiple evaluations, have multiple funded accounts going, so I could flick between them. So if I had a $1,500 morning, I could then move from that account to another account and trade that one. So it stops you over trading. The biggest killer with prop firms for me and for a lot of people, I think, is over trading. So you have 2 trades you take in the morning, you put in a nice 2% morning. Instead of stopping, you're like, I'm on a roll. And you go for it. And you have it. I have 5, 6, 7% days. But you also blow it, because what you forget is that trailing drawdown comes up with you and it bites you in the backside. So that's the thing I liked about Apex. I can just have multiple accounts running. And when I've done a 2% day, I'll move over onto the next one. But with these guys, you can have as many evaluations as you like. But if we pass one, you cannot have 2 funded accounts at the same time, which is the problem. So there's no point in taking multiple evaluations. So you've got to be, well, for me, I've got to be really strict. So, you know, $900. If I make $900, shut the platform, walk away. I've got to do that 10 days. That's all I've got to do. And I can't go and trade another futures account. So it's annoying. But yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'll let you know how I get on. I just want to get funded with them to do the withdrawal process. I can't see any problems with it. It's all done through Deal, the same as my Forex funds and everybody else. So I can't see there'll be an issue at all. But I just don't know anyone that's funded with them yet. I have asked around a couple of forums, but none of the guys I know that are funded with other futures are funded with these guys. They're only a year old, so we'll see. But anyway, I'll let you know how I get on with that. We just pulled down deep into the propulsion gap. I'm going to take another long here. Shouldn't really add to a losing position, but I am, just to bring the average down, because either this is it, and these buyers you just seen stepping in here are defending the area and we're off, or we're actually selling into this area and we're going to come back down there. So I'm obviously going to reduce my risk on that second position. Not going to take a full risk on it as it's adding to a loser. Can you use MT5 on there? No, not at the moment. You will be able to when they do Forex. Future, you can't trade. We can trade futures with MT5, but you can't. There's only one company that does it. I forget the name of them. Begins with an A. I've got one of their MT4s on my desktop. No, I haven't. No, but you will be able to trade MT5 with them when they bring Forex in. It'll be MT4, MT5. They'll probably maybe have a trading view interface, maybe, I don't know. It's futures at the minute. Futures is through proper software. Proper software. UK manufacturing's just come out. Positive. Oh, look at us being positive. Doesn't look like there's any impact though. AMP, that's it. Well done, Jack. AMP Futures. They run MT4 and MT5. They're, as far as I know, they're the only broker that will let you trade futures through MT4 and MT5. Again, that's one of the reasons MetaTrader bought MT5 out, was for the futures interface. But what they didn't realize was that everybody that trades futures wants a ladder. And a full functioning ladder. They want volume tools, volume profile. MetaTrader doesn't do any of that. So, you know, MT4 is not the right platform, or MT5 is not the right platform for futures. You want to be using proper futures software, like, you know, either Bookmap, in my opinion, Bookmap or Jigsaw. Jigsaw is what I use, but any of these, or trade multi-charts as well. Multi-charts is very, very, very good. Very good backtesting engine in multi-charts. But any of these, obviously Ninja is the recommended one because it's free. But if you want order flow, it's not free. You have to pay for everything else in that. So you're better off going and buying Jigsaw, in my opinion, because Jigsaw, you get literally everything you want. But it's going to cost you $1,000. It's not cheap trading futures. So again, nice reversal, 3-bar reversal going in at the moment. We've still got 2.5 minutes left on this candle. I'd like to see us close fairly strong on this one. And hopefully this is the buyers adding to their positions, ready for the next run up. So pound's having a good reaction to the news, the positive figures. I know, pound US dollar is. Yeah, it's a little bit of bullish movement on the pound, not a lot. Very difficult morning this morning. Right, I'll leave it there this morning. There's not a lot else I can really look at this morning. So I'm just running this DAX long. If this trade doesn't work out, then I'll wait until New York. I'm not going to try and push the DAX this morning. I want to basically, just as I said, all I want to see with the DAX this morning is that bull day, which is what we usually get after a big gap. We normally get a bull day. It doesn't have to end as a bull day. It can end, as a shooting star or whatever it wants to, but that positive move after the gap. Yeah, we're gapped up because stocks have opened higher. Yeah, there's a reason they've opened higher, usually. There's the big gaps like this, obviously. Small gaps, they get filled very, very quick. But big gaps, we tend to get a follow through. But we'll see. And that's what I'm looking for here. 3-bar reversals going in nicely. See if we get follow through on this and then break those highs. Reattempt new high of the day. That will take us up. And what it does from there, I don't care because I'll be out. Right. So that's all for today. News-wise, be careful this afternoon with the PMIs for US. That's half an hour after New York Open. And then all we've got really is New Zealand employment figures. We've got Orr speaking later, and then we've got Macklem speaking again later. Lowe obviously didn't say a lot, I don't think, did he? Didn't look at the Aussies and what they did. No, he didn't say anything impactful. So that's a textbook 3-bar reversal. Look, absolutely textbook. Strong down candle, strong rejection candle, strong follow through. Push, pause, pull the other way. Need to see the follow through, but looking good so far. I'm back up to break even on that now, pretty much, as you can see. So what I'll do is when we get back up into these highs, I'll break even the trade. In case we are literally just popping our head out the lows and then we're going to just muck about like this for the rest of the morning. If we're going to do that, I don't want to be involved in it. So obviously this is where all the wicks are, all the rejections so far this morning after the initial move up. So when we get back up into this area, I'll just protect it. And if I get stopped out and it goes, I get stopped out and it goes. I can always add again on the highs, but got to get there yet. Right, I'll post in the Telegram group anything else that I'm taking. I'll post the outcome of this trade as well. Apart from that, really, I'm sitting on 0.8 today. So I've done my money today. Aussie, New Zealand, I'm just managing. US dollar CAD, obviously first position on. Aussie, New Zealand hasn't taken a trade. Why is that not taking a trade again? Oh, it's because I've got the RSI filter on still. Sorry, I just need to. Sorry, the higher time frame filter. That would have been 0.23. Kind of missed the boat on that. I wanted to take that entry with a 0.23. I mean, with the spread now, we're getting a bit close to that entry. So, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to add on a break of that high. So if we basically break all these lows, so we've got that little support area there, we've got that low there, we've got that low there, which is yesterday's low. If we break back above yesterday's low, I'm going to add. Because if you think about what you're seeing, if we break yesterday's low on the daily chart, what we're doing is we're going red to green, which means we're putting in a bull day. That candle, if we can do that, will look like that. Will look like that pretty much. So obviously on the lower time frame, that is where that yesterday's low is there. So when we get to there, we're officially on a green day, aren't we? So I'll add because it looks like we are rejecting the lows, and we're potentially going to start that move to the upside after this big drop. Yeah. So we might get a 3-bar reversal here. So we've got 20 minutes left on this candle. If this candle finishes as a spinning top, we've got a big down move, spinning top. What I'm looking for is a bull candle. Again, 3-bar reversal, same pattern. Down, pause, up, and then continuation, which is what I want the DAX to do. The DAX doesn't seem to be playing ball at the moment. We'll see. Okay, I'll leave it there. Anything you need, come in the Telegram group. I'll be in there all day. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50 at the same time, as usual. No planned trades at the moment. I will possibly scalp some of this news with the indices, but I'm not going to do much else. Want to get FOMC out the way, and I want to get the UK rates out the way. And see what impact they have before I make any decisions on what I want to do with these two. And these two guys, you know, the US dollar is the world currency, so we need to have a bias on this. Very important to have a bias on the US dollar because it affects the bias on everything else. So I want to know what's going on with that before I start getting into any positions. Got plenty of time. It's beginning of the month. I'm not looking to have a 30% month. Would be nice, wouldn't it? So I might try and take some scalps, but we'll see. All right, anything else you need, let me know in the Telegram group. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow morning. Good luck today, and I will see you in the morning.